you a woman in medicine feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from the personal fulfillment that you desire? You're in the right place. Join Doctors Joanne and Aaron as they rewrite the rules for women in medicine. Let's begin.
We are recording on Valentine's Day. Even though it's not the day it's going to be aired out, it's still an opportunity for us to talk about love. And I know that a lot of people think of Valentine's Day as just this cheesy thing or an opportunity for people to sell us things and a made-up holiday to have us spend money. It is still an opportunity for us to celebrate love, friendship, family, and not just in a romantic relationship, which a lot of times is what we associate with Valentine's Day, but love for everyone around you. And more importantly, also love for yourself. And for those of you who know me, you know I love cheesiness. I'm going to keep on using that word. And when I talk about myself in coaching, we sometimes ask, what are some words that describe the best of who you are with yourself and with others? The word love is one of the first ones that comes to me when I'm describing myself. And I know some people go like, oh my goodness, that is so cheesy. But it's something I've always felt. And for those of you who know me, you've probably felt it. I'm very loving, very caring, very empathic. And I started using it as a filter in difficult situations when I am in the room with a patient, when I am in a tough conversation. I tell myself, feel love right now, even if I'm in an argument. But if we kind of think about it that way, we will have a different outcome. And sometimes I do get a little woo woo and think, okay, maybe if I like project some of my love out into the space, the other person will feel it. And I ended up here with a big introduction because it's an opportunity for us to really connect more with love and hope and inspiration, and we don't do enough of this. And we felt really inspired because Erin and I just finished recording with, I'm gonna get her name wrong, Dawn Veselka, and it was a beautiful podcast. If you haven't listened to it, find it. And we were talking about um I want to say correctly, cardstowarriors.org is their organization, and they write cards for either people going through medical problems, but then also for us, the caretakers, the physicians, the staff, and they're looking into creating more of a ripple effect there. And we were talking, what do we want to record next, and wanting to spread more of that love and joy. And I'm like getting very long-winded here. So Erin, I'm going to ask you, tell me, what's your definition of love? How do you feel it? And how can we bring more of it into our lives? Like, give us some tools as well.
Oh, defining love. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I think when I think about love, I think of brightness, like sunshine and joy and warmth and positivity. Those are some of the feelings that I think of when I think of the word love. And like you, I think of not only, intimate relationship, my love for my husband, but my love for my friends, for my kids, for my family, for my community. And as I love what you said about, using love as a filter. And sometimes it can be really hard to do that because maybe things just seem so overwhelming or seem so like it's just not going to make a difference. And one of the things I wanted to share is that, we've all gone through really hard times. And I found that we can remind ourselves that we are loved, even when we don't think or we don't feel it. And one of the ways I've done that is with a visual reminder, like we were just talking about interviewing Dawn on the last episode. And I remember when I would get cards from my patients, I would put them on my bulletin board. And on days where I was feeling like I'm not enough or I'm not making a difference, there was this visual reminder from a patient whose life I had impacted that was right there in front of me, staring at me in the face saying, you are making a difference. You mattered enough to me that I made you this card. I drew you this drawing. And that little act of kindness and support to me was then a physical reminder, sometimes for years at a time. And it may seem like a simple thing, but having a visual or a tactile thing, I know one of the other tools that I used, I had a bracelet. And so if you've heard any prior podcasts, you know that Joanne and I have been in Brendan Burchard's coaching groups and his masterminds and have spent a lot of time in his trainings. And he had this bracelet, and I don't remember what the saying was. It was a leather bracelet. It wrapped around my wrist, and it had a saying something like you are enough and the future holds good things for you. And I had purchased it a while before, and I think I started wearing it when I was really struggling with supporting my kids the way they needed me to support them, struggling to support my team at the medical office I was at the time. And I think that was maybe around the time I lost both of my parents too. So it was easy for me to get in this place where I wasn't feeling loved or supported enough, or I needed even more love. And so that tactile physical reminder, and I could look at that bracelet, and people didn't know the secret, but if I was wearing that bracelet, I was having a rough day, I was having a rough week. I knew about that message. And when I looked at it, said, you are loved. And that was a reminder.
Oh, I love that. I feel it. And as I was hearing you talking, I was thinking of what are some of those anchors for me as well. And I have if I have something that I've promised to myself, that if I think of you, if you pop into my head and I am going to send you a text. So if I have your text, if I have your number and you cross my mind, you probably would have received a little text saying, thinking of you, I hope you have a good day, I love you. And that is such a small detail that can make a difference, and I feel it. So it's not just for the other person, it's what we were talking in the last episode of the cards, that it's not just for the person who gets it. It is so special for the person writing it, and right, like we can even get technical about it, how you can even have like a dopamine rush, so all those good hormones that we feel. And it's a good question that you can ask yourself: what are some anchors for you to feel love, and also reminders to show love? And again, we're using the word love, but it could be appreciation, gratitude, kindness, and whatever word you can resonate with, or and it could be with your kid, with your pet, with your neighbor. And that's a beautiful energy to put out in the universe. And I know that I say that it's like I used to say, maybe it's because I'm Puerto Rican. And I said, no, it's something that I've cultivated, that I feel good, that it's important in my life. And I think it came out in a natural way growing up, and now it's very intentional, and it is something that we can all do. It doesn't need to be cheesy. It's something that we can all feel more and give more.
And you brought up a good point about the connectivity with that word love. And my daughter now lives on the opposite side of the country, living in New York City. And so as I was getting dressed for the podcast this morning, I chose the necklace that I'm wearing when we were visiting New York City before she moved there. I bought it from a local artist, and my daughter bought a jewelry piece from the same artist. And so I thought, I want to feel more connected to my daughter today on Valentine's Day, even though she no longer lives at home and is all the way across the country. And so and I can touch the necklace. I can feel it. I know it's there. This morning I went on a walk in the snow, and I wore a beanie hat from my mom, who passed away 5 years ago. And it made me look so silly, pink with a pom-pom on it. I sent Joanne a picture of me walking. We got snow in our area, which is unusual. And I wanted to feel connected with my mom on Valentine's Day. I miss her dearly, but that just wearing a piece of her clothing makes me feel connected with my mom, whom I miss. And so those are little ways that I've found, it's sometimes physical things can just clutter space up or be looked at as an object, but I look at it as this necklace is a piece of connectivity with my daughter. That hat is connectivity with my mom, and I have objects around the house that remind me of my stepdad who's no longer with us. So those are ways where we can bring love of people that are no longer with us and whom we miss, bring them back into the present and really stay connected with the beauty of those relationships.
Hmm. I feel it. Thank you. It's so neat.
Yeah. And Joanne, I know you are a lover of frameworks. And so I would bet you have some kind of framework that goes around love, and I would love to hear it.
Yes, I was writing an email for my newsletter and came up with a little acronym. And I said, oh, this would be cool to share in the podcast as well, because we can cultivate more love. We can think about it this way. So, love for others and then also love for ourselves. So, for the L, I wrote, listen to yourself. And we talk a lot about it in here of having awareness of where you're at, what are your thoughts, how are you feeling, and honoring that wherever it is that you're at. And having that self-compassion that its base is love as well. Then the O, open your heart to give and listen, to receive support, kindness, care, asking for help, like we always talk about. It opens up to receive some of that gratitude and then also to give more of it. And again, we keep on using that phrase self-compassion. It comes up over and over because we can be so hard on ourselves. We expect of ourselves and we say things to ourselves that we would never say to anyone else. And that's a good place to start if we're trying to feel more of that self-love and to be more open to giving love. Then the V, value your worth. Oh my goodness. As women in medicine, I want you to hear this. We see you, we know your dedication, we know how hard you work, we know how much you give others, and so are you worthy of all of it and so much. So, it's a message for us as well. So, remind yourself every day that you're worthy of love and to have a life of more fulfillment, which is part of our mission here to give you all tools for that. And then E, embrace your journey. Embrace where you're at. We're all in our unique path. Tap into that purpose and meaning. Connect with that love and hope to give more and to receive more. So that's my little love framework.
I appreciate that so much. And the a couple points that you made about open your heart not just to giving love, which we're so good at, but receiving love, which can be so hard to be on the receiving end sometimes because we're so outward service hearted, and valuing your worth. And I'm sure you have experiences like this when you are coaching one of your women physician clients. And when I'm reminding them, I just had a session earlier this week, and I was like, do you understand the impact you're having on your specific clients or your specific patients? Not everybody has the ability. She was in a very small niche, very difficult work that she does. Nobody thought she could do it because most of the people in that field are men. Most people thought you're not going to last here. And she's been there year after year. And she was forgetting her value. And it was a great time for me to remind her from my perspective, you are kidding me. How do you not see that? And yet having that person to sometimes remind you, oh yeah, I really am making a difference. And that's one of the things I love about coaching. Joanne, maybe you have a similar experience helping share or remind women in medicine about their value.
Hmm. Yes, actually, just thinking about it too, of a call I had earlier today of one of my clients who's doing great. and she's working on a project and was beating herself up because she wasn't where she thought she should be. The should that we give ourselves so often. And it was like I helped her remind herself of how far she's come, and that a lot of times our brain gets in the way, and then we get very black and white, and we have to step back, zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and really feel proud of how far we've been, and how far we've worked on things. And from that place where we're in more gratitude and compassion, that emotion will allow us to kind of step in again. And I know it's a lot of the same things that we're talking about, but it is so powerful of really tapping into our emotions and realizing where we can make a difference for our brain and our thoughts and our emotions, and how will that allow us to do better.
Absolutely. And that also goes to show, like we talk about coaching, Joanne and I do, because that's what one of the things that we do. We also talk about building community. And if you're feeling unloved, you're feeling isolated, then we would encourage you to ask yourself, what does your community look like? Who are the people that you need to add more love into your life? And we are building a community with Create Meaning in Medicine. And we would love for you to head over to our website, createmeaninginmedicine.com, where you can further connect with us, and where we are building community for our listener, for women in medicine, so that if you're feeling isolated, you don't have to do this alone. We can get further together, right? With what's that saying we like to use, Joanne? If you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. And that's what we want for our listeners, is for you to be able to go further, but without all of the heavy load lifted yourself, with the right community to help you get there together. And with that, we are looking forward to seeing you in our next episode.
Do you want exclusive resources and the opportunity to connect with us? Then visit createmeaninginmedicine.com now, where you'll dive deeper into how you can create meaning in medicine. And if you're serious about optimizing your results, take 2 quick steps now. Connect with us on the website and tune in to the next episode.